Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? It is day 16 of RPG A Day 2017, August 16th. Let's see what our question is. It is, which RPG do you enjoy using as is? So this is kind of a flip side of the question we had yesterday, where it asked us which RPG do we enjoy adapting the most. And so this is a bit of a difficult question for me. I had to think about it a little bit, because certainly if you've watched my channel, and you should be watching my channel because it's fascinating. It's ridiculous. Uh, you know that like I'm an unabashed house ruler, but that's really mostly when it comes to old school OSR games, because I know how those work and I know how to make them do what I want them to do within the parameters that they can. So I'm used to that. We kind of all did it back then. However, I'm having a lot of fun playing a lot of new games, and I don't see the need to house rule them because I want to see what they actually do. I'm comfortable doing rules as written. Do I look at games and think I would do this differently, or boy, I'd work this mechanically different? Of course I do. That's just kind of how I'm wired. I smiled when I heard. I think it was Grim Jim. I was watching his little Blitzkrieg videos, and he talked about the fact that he can't help himself. He messes with everything. However, I'm having a lot of fun playing things rules as written. But I am a guy that kind of likes to look under the hood. I am fascinated by systems and probabilities and mechanics, and why does this game do what it does? Why is this set up this way? What effect does that produce? Which is another topic for another time. Topic about page counts, and why a lot of times we don't get to see the rationale of why games do what they do. But I like looking under all that, under the hood, figuring out how they work. And so sometimes I can suss out a game and think I'm not really sure I'm going to like this, and then figure out, well, why don't I like this? So I kind of roll back on this keyword enjoy, because to me that's the key word in this entire question. Which RPG do I enjoy using as is? And so for me, enjoyment comes with being comfortable with a rule set where I'm not really concerned about forgetting stuff. And so usually enjoyment in playing a role-playing game means that there's not a hell of a lot of rules. It's not too complex. Enjoyment for me is when I can completely be immersed in the role-playing, in the game, and I know, it's like riding a bike. You don't forget. I know what to do next. I'm getting much closer to that in playing Ubiquity, where I've really wrapped my head around the rules. There's a few like oddballs here and there that I have to look up, but for the most part, I know what we should do in a particular situation. So that makes it very comfortable for me. And so once again, I can just concentrate, flat out on role playing. So, I had to think about, I can't point to a specific game, but I can point to a subset of games which I enjoy playing more because they don't have as many rules. And, Anthony Runeslinger and I had a discussion a while ago, and I made a video. I kind of mentioned this, that I need to. We were talking about perhaps we should do a hangouts about this, about the rationale for preferring different complexity of rules, whether it's rules light, rules medium, etc. And the idea that there may be several different rationales for why you would prefer a rules light scenario. And we were bantering back and forth a little bit, and the three he came up with here, and I'm kind of baiting him to see if we'll ever make this hangouts, but I know it's the wrong month. Where one, I prefer light rules so that I can rule without rules lookups and to be in charge of how things happen. Or two, I prefer light rules so that the rules don't shape the narrative. Or three, I prefer light as it is easier to interpret and apply the rules. And I had to think about that. And for me, I fall into that third camp. I don't want to get the rules wrong. It's not so much that I care if they shape the narrative. One of the things that I thought of was that sometimes I find the focus of some rule sets uninteresting, or the effect of that system not to be what I was after. Like the mechanics concentrate so much on something that I just don't really care about. Don't find as interesting. It was interesting because I was watching a bunch of videos today about this topic, and a lot of people mentioned Fate. And I think it was Edie Soul Media was talking about the idea that you can adapt it to various things and drop the rules. The Fate's meant to be, tinkered with in terms of what's important. What are you going to focus your energies on? So, I kind of related to that idea, and so I guess that game is meant to do that. Is that going to be my ultimate game? I don't think so, but maybe. But anyhow, I'm looking forward to checking that out. Anyhow, so maybe John or one of these guys will run me through a game of Fate sometimes. But, more to the point, I'm not a guy that really cares so much if about being in charge of how things happen. So the first category doesn't really apply to me. I just want to rule without the rules lookups and be in charge. Nor do I really have a problem with the rules shaping the narrative. Sometimes, I'm not happy with what they focus on, but that's not a rules light, rules complex thing. That's just a preference of like, hey, this is something that doesn't interest me, or maybe I don't find that particular aspect all that. I'm looking for a synonym here. Interesting. I always blank out on synonyms when I'm making these videos. But to me, at the end of the day, the games that I tend to enjoy using as is, or just role playing, tend to be more rules light. Because it's easier for me to interpret and apply the rules because I know how to do it. The more time and effort I put into a system, the more I become comfortable with that system, and the more that I can kind of have that engine humming in the background. I don't have to put as much thought into it, and then I can really enjoy myself. So perhaps really the real answer to this question, after this long build-up, is that the games that I enjoy the most using as is are the games that I've really learned inside and out how to play and how they work and why they work the way they do. So perhaps it's, I guess it's the games that I have developed system mastery over. So how about that? What do you think about all that?